Peter Osgood was a king, the King of Stamford Bridge, the King of the King's Road. A centre-forward with silk in his boots and swagger in his soul. He scored goals that made grown men weep. He won cups that turned Chelsea into legends. He was everything a footballer should be. Talented, brave, honest. But Osgood had enemies. 7 men he truly hated. And when he said one of them was rubbish, he meant it. This is not gossip. These are Osgood's own words, his own feelings, his own hatred. Football in the 1970s was raw, brutal, honest. Players did not hide behind agents and PR teams. They said what they thought, and if they hated someone, everyone knew it. Osgood was the perfect symbol of that era. He lived large, played with flair, and made enemies without apology. Let's start with the man who tried to break him. Norman Hunter was nicknamed Bite Your Legs. That tells you everything. He was not there to play football. He was there to destroy it. Osgood faced Hunter dozens of times. Every match was a war. Hunter would kick him, elbow him, stamp on him, off the ball, when the referee looked away. Hunter admitted it himself. He said there was tremendous rivalry between them. He said Osgood would come back at him. That sounds respectful. It was not. It was survival. Osgood called their battles beautiful savagery. Beautiful for the fans, maybe. Savage for the players, definitely. Hunter crossed the line. He did not just tackle hard. He hurt people on purpose. Osgood knew this. He hated Hunter because Hunter made football ugly. The 1970 FA Cup final replay was the worst. Hunter pulled Osgood's sideburns during the match, pulled his hair like a schoolyard bully. This was not sport. This was violence. Osgood had long hair and sideburns because he was part of the new generation. Hunter hated that. He hated everything Osgood stood for. Style, flair, freedom. Osgood respected hard men. His own captain, Ron Harris, was tough as nails, but Harris played fair. Hunter did not. Hunter wanted to break Osgood. He wanted to end his career. Every tackle was an attempt to injure. Osgood hated him for that. Not as a rival, as an enemy, a man who brought brutality instead of skill. Hunter was the enforcer of Leeds United, a team built on intimidation. Osgood stood against all of it, and Hunter made him pay with studs and fists. The hatred between them was mutual. Both men acknowledged it, but Hunter tried to frame it as respect, as 2 warriors testing each other. Osgood saw through that. He knew Hunter enjoyed hurting people. Leeds United was designed to win through fear, and Hunter was their weapon. Then there was Jack Charlton. If Hunter was the muscle, Charlton was the brain behind the violence. Charlton was older, a World Cup winner. He had authority. He also had a black book. Charlton admitted on television that he kept a little black book of names. Players he wanted to hurt before he retired. Players he wanted revenge on. Osgood believed he was at the top of that list. Charlton denied it later, but the evidence does not lie. During the 1970 replay, Osgood fouled Charlton, went through the back of him. Charlton did not wait for the referee. He leapt up, spun around, planted a knee straight into Osgood. Immediate revenge, violent justice. Charlton would never forget. He would never forgive. He hunted players across matches, held grudges for years. Osgood knew he was a marked man every time he played Leeds. The worst part, Charlton's obsession cost Leeds the cup. During the play where Osgood scored his diving header, Charlton was distracted. He was trying to get revenge on a Chelsea player. He left Osgood unmarked in the 6-yard box, the most dangerous striker in England. Completely free, Osgood buried it. Charlton's vendetta blinded him. His hatred made him stupid. Osgood hated Charlton because playing against him was not football. It was being hunted. Every match felt like Charlton had planned your assault before kick-off. The Black Book might have been a joke to some. To Osgood, it was real, and it was terrifying. Charlton represented everything Osgood despised. The mentality that winning justified any method. That skill should be punished with violence. Osgood never forgot that knee in the back. Billy Brenner made it worse. Brenner was only 5'5", but he cast a giant shadow. He was Leeds' captain, the conductor of their dark arts. While Hunter and Charlton were the physical barriers, Brenner was the pest, the irritant, the man who made you lose your mind. Osgood said matches against Leeds went mad, everyone kicking each other. Bremner was always at the centre, always starting it. In the 1970 final, Bremner hacked at Osgood constantly, tried to chop him down at the knees. Osgood's strike partner Ian Hutchinson had to step in, knocked Bremner flat. That was the only language Bremner understood. Violence. Osgood hated Bremner because he represented everything wrong with football. Osgood played with a smile. Bremner played with a scowl. Osgood wanted to create. Bremner wanted to destroy. The philosophical difference was huge. Osgood was the beautiful game. Flicks, headers, volleys. Bremner was win at all costs. Shirt pulling, raking studs, verbal abuse. Bremner forced Osgood into the mud, made him fight instead of play. Osgood hated that. He hated being dragged down to Bremner's level. But he had no choice. Against Leeds, you fought or you lost. Bremner was the embodiment of cynicism, a constant thorn, elusive and spiteful. Osgood could match Hunter and Charlton physically, but Bremner was different. He was everywhere. Never let you breathe, never let you play. Osgood hated him for making football a street brawl. The Leeds trio were enemies on the pitch. Jeff Astle should never have been near an England shirt. Not when Peter Osgood existed, but Astle was safe. He was the teacher's pet, the hard worker, the boring choice. Osgood was the opposite, talented, unpredictable, exciting, and that made him dangerous to the establishment. Astle played for West Brom. He was a decent player, good in the air, worked hard, but he was not special. Osgood was special. In 1970, Osgood scored 31 goals. He was the best striker in England. The World Cup in Mexico should have been his stage. Instead, it became his nightmare. Astle went. Osgood barely played. The disrespect started on the flight to Mexico. There is a rumour Osgood spiked Astle's drink, slipped him a Mickey Finn. When the squad landed in Bogota, Astle was photographed sitting on a skip, looking awful, disoriented. But it fit Osgood's personality. He did not respect Astle. He saw him as a usurper, someone taking his spot. If you spike a teammate's drink before a World Cup, you do not see him as a peer. You see him as someone who needs putting in his place. Osgood viewed Astle as mediocre, the avatar of everything wrong with English football. Workhorses over artists, effort over skill. The hatred was sealed during the Brazil match. England trailed 1-0. They needed a goal. The manager looked to the bench. He brought on Jeff Astle, not Peter Osgood. Astle missed a sitter, scuffed it wide, a chance a Sunday League player should score. Osgood watched from the bench, fuming. He knew he would have scored. He would have buried it. Astle's failure proved everything Osgood believed. Ramsey was wrong. Astle was not good enough, and Osgood's career was being stolen. Osgood never let it go. For the rest of his life, he pointed to that miss, that moment when mediocrity was chosen over brilliance. Astle became the symbol of Osgood's England nightmare. That brings us to Alf Ramsey. Sir Alf, the only man to win England the World Cup, but also the man who destroyed Peter Osgood's international career. Ramsey was a disciplinarian, straight-laced, conservative. He valued function over flair, obedience over talent. Osgood was everything Ramsey hated. He lived the playboy lifestyle, nightclubs, models, the King's Road scene. Ramsey saw this as a distraction, a threat. The clash was cultural, North versus South, establishment versus individual. Ramsey built his team on workers, men who followed orders. Osgood was not a worker. He was an artist. Ramsey treated him with suspicion from day one. Despite Osgood's talent, despite his goal record, even Jack Charlton admitted Osgood was the best player in training, but Ramsey never used him. That is damning. A player who dominates in practice gets ignored in matches. Why? Because Ramsey did not like him, did not trust him, did not want him. The 1970 World Cup was the ultimate betrayal. Osgood made the squad. He thought this was his moment. Instead, Ramsey marginalised him. 2 substitute appearances. That was it. In the quarter-final against West Germany, England collapsed. Their most prolific striker sat on the bench, watching, helpless. Osgood hated Ramsey because he believed Ramsey cost England the World Cup to prove a point. Ramsey would rather lose with his men than win with a maverick. Osgood finished his career with 4 caps. 4. For a player of his quality, that is a travesty. All because Ramsey was stubborn, prejudiced, blind to talent. Osgood hated Ramsey because Ramsey stole his international career, made him watch inferior players wear the 3 lions. Osgood should have been a World Cup hero. Instead, he was ignored, cast aside, forgotten. That hatred never left him. Ramsey represented the old England, the boring England, the England that feared creativity. Osgood was the new England trying to break through, and Ramsey slammed the door in his face. Dave Sexton hurt Osgood differently. This was not rivalry. This was betrayal. Sexton was the manager who brought Osgood glory. The 1970 FA Cup, the 1971 Cup, Winners' Cup. For years they were close. Osgood called Sexton one of his best mates. But by 1974, everything changed. The Chelsea team was falling apart. Osgood and Alan Hudson were partying too much, training less. Results suffered. Sexton wanted discipline. Osgood wanted freedom. The breaking point came over captaincy. Sexton wanted to make Osgood captain, but there was a condition. Ron Harris had to be stripped of the armband. Osgood refused. Harris was his friend, his teammate, the rightful captain. Osgood would not betray him. Sexton saw this as immaturity. Osgood saw it as loyalty. The relationship collapsed. After a poor performance, Sexton dropped Osgood and Hudson. When they refused to train with the reserves, Sexton suspended them, put them on the transfer list. The king was being forced out of his kingdom. Fans protested, picketed the stadium, demanded the board keep Osgood, but Sexton stood firm. In March 1974, Osgood was sold to Southampton for £275,000. He called the exit horrendous. He felt betrayed, scapegoated, discarded. Sexton ended the golden age. He broke up the team that conquered Europe. Osgood hated him for that, for choosing discipline over talent, for forcing him out of Chelsea. They reconciled later in life, but the hatred of that moment was real, deep, painful. A father figure who became a betrayer. The pain Sexton caused was different from the others. Hunter wanted to hurt Osgood's body. Ramsey wanted to deny his talent, but Sexton hurt his heart. Chelsea was Osgood's home. Sexton kicked him out. Finally, we come to Ken Bates, the worst of them all. Bates was not a player, not a manager. He was a businessman. He bought Chelsea for £1 in 1982, saved the club from bankruptcy, but in doing so, he waged war on its past, on its soul, on Peter Osgood. Osgood was asked who he would put in room 101, the place from George Orwell where you send things you want destroyed. Osgood did not hesitate. Ken Bates. He said Bates was not a nice man. This was not professional disagreement. This was personal disgust. Osgood believed Bates was a bully, someone who got rid of anyone who threatened his ego. Bates wanted to modernise Chelsea. He saw the 1970s players as embarrassments, drinkers, bad examples. Osgood saw Bates as a man who did not understand Chelsea, who wanted to destroy its history. Bates treated club legends like problems to solve. He got rid of Ruud Gullit. He got rid of Gianluca Vialli. He would get rid of anyone who shone brighter than him. Osgood watched this pattern, saw how Bates operated, and he knew he was next. Ban proved it. Bates could not handle the fact that fans loved Osgood more than they respected him. So he removed Osgood, made him invisible. The hatred only ended when Bates sold the club. When Roman Abramovich took over in 2003, he brought Osgood back. Osgood said it was wonderful, that he would have paid to return. The joy he felt proved how much he hated Bates, how oppressive Bates had been. Bates was the only man Osgood believed had no redeeming qualities, a man who tried to kill the soul of Chelsea. Osgood spent years in exile, years watching his club from afar, all because one man decided legends were inconvenient. Bates wanted credit for saving Chelsea, but he also wanted to erase what Chelsea had been. Osgood was the living memory of Chelsea's greatest era, and Bates could not stand that. Peter Osgood never pretended to be perfect. He drank, he partied, he spoke his mind, but he was honest. He loved his club, he respected his teammates, and he hated those who hurt him. 7 men made his list. Norman Hunter, who tried to break him, Jack Charlton, who hunted him, Billy Brenner, who tormented him, Jeff Astle, who was not good enough, Alf Ramsey, who stole his career, Dave Sexton, who betrayed him, Ken Bates, who tried to erase him. Osgood wore his heart on his sleeve. He never hid his feelings. That is rare in football. Most players lie, say the right things, protect their image. Not Osgood. He told the truth, even when it hurt, even when it made enemies. He lived football honestly. And honestly, these 7 men deserved every bit of his hatred. If you enjoyed learning about the real Peter Osgood, subscribe for more untold football stories.